Hello there everyone, all you faithful members of the Dishonorable Clan. First part of this video series that I look forward to a lot. Please send me your saves, guys. I'll try to help as best as I can. Send me any interesting scenarios, any scenarios where the odds are against you. And we have a very interesting battle over here. So this comes from Abdu in our Discord server. Link in the description below if you want to join. Did a very strange thing over here. So he's playing the Otomo and he migrated from Kyushu, lost his provinces there, and is now occupying Ikko-Ikki lands. So he has two provinces. So if I lose this battle, his campaign is pretty much done. So first off, we have a mostly Ashigaru army, 1 unit of Portuguese tercios, 2 matchlock Ashigaru, some experience. Yari Ashigaru, some with experience, some without experience, but improved stats, so that's going to be interesting. With a reinforcing army, imported matchlocks, but how do you use them, you know, when you're in the reinforcing army? Some Yari Samurai, Yari Ashigaru, no katanas, no really good anti-infantry except for Samurai Retainers. Against Shingen, mostly Shingen himself with his fear effect with a mostly Ashigaru army. A reinforcing Takeda army, again mostly Ashigaru. 1 unit over here. And then this is the big one over here. This reinforcing army is the strongest one over here by far. Lots of high XP Bow Samurai, XP Yari Ashigaru and Yari Samurai, and a rank 4 general. And that's going to be the tough part, getting rid of this general over here. 4,000 mostly Ashigaru against 9,000 mixed Ashigaru Samurai with 4-star generals. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. But I have a solid battle plan. I know this map. So, deployment. Now, I had a couple of battle plans in mind to choose from. I could have just done the traditional thing and the easy one, or the simple one, and sat in the fort with matchlocks in the highest tier and just place Yari walls on the lower levels and attrition the enemy, attrition all these enemy armies. But one that would just leave me open to getting chewed by bows, because they have a lot of bow samurai in the final stack. And secondly, in one of my attempts that I ended up winning as well, I won it, but my tercios actually managed to run out of ammunition, so that's never a good thing, because the whole point of guns is to demoralize the enemy army, to demoralize enemy units. So when they're out of ammunition, they pretty much lose that special property and become another melee unit. So the tercios would become a slightly worse katana samurai in that regard. So I did not want that to happen. I wanted to have gunfire. I wanted to have competent gunfire this entire battle. I wanted that elements to be in play the whole time. And I'm placing units here very carefully, very deliberately, because I'm taking the enemy's deployment into account. So they're gonna have a few contingents on the eastern side, melee infantry, and then on the western side over here, they're gonna have the main force with Shingen himself leading it. And I have to defeat in detail over here. I have to route this army the first stack as much as possible. 1, so that I have an easier second and third fight, and 2, because I have a reinforcing army. You can see the arrow there in the bottom left of the screen, coming in from the very bottom of the map. And I need to clear a path for them as soon as possible to get the reinforcing matchlocks into the fort. That's another objective over here. I need to get the reinforcing guns into the fort. I want them to play a role in the battle. I want every unit over here to have some effect on the battle. And I'm making sure to give orders to these units down here, because they're going to go so far forward that the Takeda cavalry will actually pull off from the main force and come down the hill to attack and potentially assassinate the reinforcing general. So I placed the Yar Samurai in the front as a sort of barrier in case that happens. And I pulled my cavalry, I pulled my main cavalry force, all the generals and light cavalry, forward a bit to try and bait the Yari Ashigaru over there to run, so that they close the distance faster. And I'm giving attack orders over here, stretching out these Yari Ashigaru as much as possible to catch units and to reduce the chances of them getting flanked. I don't want any exposed flanks over here. And I'm acknowledging the differences in the Yari Ashigaru has over here. So I placed all of the Yari Ashigaru with improved melee attack in in the offensive army. While I placed the Yari Ashigar with experience, they have better morale. So better morale means better experience. That is Shingen gone. So better experience means better morale, meaning that they won't suffer if they take friendly fire. So I placed them on the eastern side of the fort because they're gonna take some friendly fire while the matchlocks are firing off. And now because Shingen is dead, we can easily rout the rest of this army. And if you were paying attention back there, you'll notice I gave the Yari Samurai, all three of them, I grouped them together and I told them to run over to the forest on the south side of the map.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord.
Yeah, you can see over here, I sent them over to the... and now the game is starting to stutter because of how many units are loading into the map. It's the game itself. Checked in GeForce Experience. I went and updated the driver to the latest one and everything to see if it was my system. It wasn't. It seems like it's the game just throttling itself as it loads in, because once all the units are... Oh yeah, see, I clicked. My inputs are getting swallowed. I clicked... apparently clicked to open the encyclopedia, and then I gave an order there while the game was paused, so that was a bit of cheating. My bad. But yeah, once all the units are in the map, are actually on the map, it stops lagging. It stops stuttering like this. And I'm using the cavalry here, opportunistically picking out targets. Any weak points, they're there. Just to expedite the route, make the route just a bit faster. You can see all these inputs over here getting swallowed. And the fight is being joined on this side, and they didn't even enter the fights before their general died. So Shingen is dead. They no longer have the added morale from their general being alive, and they're gonna shatter. They're gonna shatter, having guns and charging into Yari Wall. And now I'm moving. Now the path is clear because I got rid of the Takeda army. You can see them running down. They're gonna run right into my men. So it's killing two birds with one stone. I get to, or three birds with one stone. I get to kill all of these routing units, which also gives my reinforcing army more experience, and at the same time my reinforcing army can get up to the fort. They have a clear path to the fort now. And I'm reforming. I'm slowly reorganizing over here, anticipating the second phase of this fight. And it's so different. Like I don't really like these large scale battles because of how many different groups there are to manage, how many different, remembering which group is which and what part of the map, especially because most of these units are Yari Ashigaru, so I can't instantly remember 5 or 6 different groups that I have to remember. I have to keep track of, just tabs on. I'm bringing the imported matchlocks up. This is another challenge. When I looked at the battle, I was wondering, how do you use matchlocks in a reinforcing army in a siege defense? How you need to get them over to the fort, and luckily I have a clear path now. And you can see in the background over there that whole mass of the Hatakeyama army and the reinforcing Takeda army. They're slowly forming up over there. They're taking their time to form up. Sometimes the AI does this, it'll pause before actually attacking. So that's giving me, that's a huge advantage. I'm finishing off what's left of the Takeda stack over here. You can see on the mini-map on the eastern side that that entire section of the army has been routed. So we've routed the entire first stack with maybe 300 losses total. I don't even know if my tercios had the chance to fire. I don't even know if they have fired any shots yet. I'm looking at their ammunition, they're still full. And you're probably going to be disappointed by the tercios and their performance in this battle. But here's the thing. I think that, bold opinion over here, I think that people use Portuguese tercios as a crutch. That it makes them complacent. They're like, oh, I have this incredibly potent matchlock unit, so I'll just sit here in the fort. It's going to get 1,000 kills easy. More than 1,000 kills. And they end up underutilizing the rest of their army, which I did in some of the previous attempts. I tried banking on the tercios, and they did get 1,300 kills in one attempt. But the rest of my army was either completely unused or just several units were completely lost. And I don't want that. I want to keep I want to make sure that the experience gained in this battle is relatively even. I think it's more cost-effective, more beneficial to have experience more evenly spread across the army than just having a few units highly experienced while the rest are fresh. And you can see the Yari Ashigaru that had no experience at the start of the fight, the ones in the offensive force here outside the fort with the upgraded melee attack and armor, they now have experience. One of them has 3 experience already, so morale is less of an issue.
And some must rest.
And this map, the slopes are a huge advantage, not just in combat, but it just increases the amount of time it takes for the reinforcing army to arrive, for the enemy reinforcing army. It hurts them more than it hurts me. And you can see what just a moment ago, I was repositioning my units within the fort, so pulling the matchlocks onto the higher level so that they can have a clear shot in the coming fight. And some units are peeling off. Some units are peeling off from the second force. Those bows in the back and the spear unit. Bringing my cavalry down to help relieve these. Yari Ashigaru got caught by this lone Yari Samurai. And if you look on the minimap, I have 3 units of Yari Samurai there at the southwest part there, in the trees hidden, waiting. I'm gonna time the general snipe for when the enemy army is committing, so I can maximize all the morale shocks. They're gonna be fighting uphill, fighting on bad terrain, getting flanked, being shot by guns, and then on top of that, their commander dies. And that's something that guns bring to the game. They bring a whole new dimension. Not only do you have the typical flanking morale, high ground advantages and whatever, you also have guns, the morale effect from guns themselves. And you can just murder high quality units like that. Just absolutely eviscerate them. Naginata Samurai heroes, Naginata Warrior Monks, they won't last against that. And this is even though like these units are routing, they're isolating themselves and routing very quickly. And I'm charging in my cavalry over here because I want to pull this Yari Ashigaru out, and cavalry, I'm bringing in the cavalry to stop the bows from chasing after my Yari Ashigaru, which would result in them getting hit in the rear and taking a morale penalty. And it's a bit of a mess over here. And now like the color schemes are confusing me because the Hatakeyama, like Otomo, they have similar color schemes. That's one thing I don't like about playing the Otomo. At a glance, it's hard for me to figure out what the state of the battle is when there's a brawl going on. And now because they're committing their army, I'm sending in the Yari Samurai. And this is one area where Yari Samurai is superior to Ashigaru. Yari Samurai, you can detach them from an army and you won't have to worry about their morale. Whereas Yari Ashigaru, even against cavalry, if a unit of Yari Ashigaru gets hit from the front and on the side by 2 cavalry units, it's gonna waver and probably rout. Yari Samurai, you don't have to micromanage them. You just give them the attack order, make sure they don't get swamped by other infantry, and you're good. And then you can just rapid advance out of there and to safety. And I brought my matchlocks on. I brought the reinforcing matchlocks into the fort. You can see they're finally going onto the walls. And the pause was extremely important over there because when you have so many units climbing walls in this game, the game just your units stop accepting orders. They just ignore orders. They take forever to respond to them. So having that pause in the fight made sure I could actually organize my matchlocks in the way I wanted them. Make sure everything was in place for this coming fight over here. And it's difficult when you have 5 matchlock units. How do you present all your guns to the units? I wouldn't be able to do that if I just camped in the center of the fort. I would only be able to maybe have 3 matchlocks actually firing. The other 2 are just sitting there doing nothing. So being able to move the units around, it was important to move the matchlocks around to where they were needed when they were needed. And we have bows firing into Yari walls, never a good thing. But I believe their general died or fled from the battlefield. I didn't hear the announcer say he was dead, so I think he fled. But all the same, we're getting the morale debuffs over here. They have guns firing on them. And they're committing most of their melee units to the fort now, so there are only bows left outside. They're mostly bows, and my cavalry are getting caught by Yari Samurai, but for some reason the Yari Samurai are already wavering. And I'm not really taking that many losses on the cavalry. And I want to take a moment to think about it from perspective of both armies. You have the general and the entire tribal council over here. The general and the entire tribal council over here just charging around. Wherever there's the lines under stress or wherever there's an opportunity, they're just charging in in unison. And imagine it would just inspire their own men so much while terrifying the enemy army. Who would think they would be comfortable with their advantage in numbers and quality as well. And now you can see it happening. They have so many units trying to climb walls that some of them are just getting stuck and motionless. And it's time to push the advantage, so we're taking archer fire over here. Now's the decisive move. Now's when everything is in place. It's just close. It's just a question of closing in for the kill. And I'm gonna move my Yari Samurai over here to that spot on the map, anticipating that all the routing units are gonna go there. So I don't need to just win this battle. It isn't hard to win this battle. I've done multiple attempts. It's not about winning, it's about winning in the most efficient way possible over here. I could have probably still done better, but you're gonna see this is about winning because his whole campaign depends on this. His whole campaign depends on this. This is his only army over here. I need to make sure I win this as efficiently as decisively as possible. And all these flashing banners over here, these archers just immediately. And then all there in the background, the entire stack. I think this is basically an entire stack that insta-routes now. Most of them probably never even got into the fight. And if you look at my units down on the panel, that's a victory over there. There's only one Yari Ashigaru there that's in the red. Most of my units are still above half strength. Even the cavalry who were charging into spears half of this battle are relatively intact. Now it's a question of mopping up. There's still like 1,000 men in this mass still alive, so I can't just let them run away. I can't let 10 or 15 samurai units, high experienced samurai units retreat and then replenish back in enemy territory for another fight. And the Tercios kind of underperformed. They fired off half their ammunition. Matchlocks didn't really have that much of, as far as kills go. Matchlocks didn't do as well. You can very reasonably with Matchlock Ashigar very reasonably get 500, 700 kills with them. Tercios 1,000, but you're gonna see in the end results, and this is a bit funny over here. The pathfinding for the AI gets really weird in this part. They start running in circles. Even the Bo Ashigaru, I'm surprised the Bo Ashigaru held pretty well. They didn't rout. I placed them on the walls just as a meat shield, as a delaying tactic, because that's what they're good for. And they didn't even rout. They actually held their ground. And we're gonna have a bit of a merry-go-round here in these, what are these called, rice silos or whatever. And close victory, yeah. Probably a close victory. I probably didn't get a heroic one because I used too much ammo on the matchlocks. That's a thing with how it calculates heroic victories. So 1,300 to 8,500. That's a 1 to like 7 kill death ratio. So 1/4 of our force, and we destroyed like 92% or 93% of that enemy force. And look at the Tercios getting only 480 kills. But not a single loss either. And only one unit. And there was only one unit. I'm surprised there was only one unit that I lost. And he has an armory in this province, so all of these units are going to replenish very quickly. So perfect opportunity, perfect The stage is set for a counterattack over here. For a real counterattack. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Do send me your saves if you're ever stuck or any interesting battle scenarios, interesting units, wacky units. Send them away. I'll try to crack it. Maybe people in Discord can try cracking it as well. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to more entries in this series over here. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that sub button if you haven't. And you can check out my Twitch. I stream Shogun 2 on Saturdays. So you can go on ahead and check that out. And the Discord will also be linked in the description below. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!